Welcome back. It's been a long time, but welcome back to the Entrepreneur Power Hour. I'm your host, Kareem Mays, with my good friend Dan Sissick. We've just kicked off. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but hey, we're coming back. We're coming back strong. I'm also working on a little thing in my basement, so I know I'm in the dark now, but I'm going to have a computer and some things set up there. Dan, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that we're getting this kind of kicking off again and going back and um, trying to just, you know, fix what needs to be fixed and move forward and make things better that need to be made better.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And sometimes things have to go down and up before they get better. I found something interesting. Someone said the economy's always improving, even when it goes down. And someone said, hey, how's that possible if the economy goes down? How can it be improving, right? Logically. And what they said was interesting and it's completely true. How would you know what down was if you've never been up? Vice versa, how would you know what up is if you've never been down? So sometimes things have to go down and then change a little bit and go up and then they go down. And that's just part of being an entrepreneur and a freelancer, and two things I've been interested in doing for a very long time and still do.
Yeah, I was going to jump in on your up and down thing because I've never had it put to that way. But when you're down, that's where you look at where with the economy, that's where you can look where you can change this, improve that, do that. When you're up, that's where you think of, okay, how can we make it faster, better, more, and look to the masses and stuff. When you're down, you kind of entrenching and looking at yourself. When you're up top, then you're kind of looking out and what you can. So yeah, I kind of get it now. Down and up, and we just put a perspective on it that doesn't doesn't always fit.
Yes, and that's the perspective we're bringing here. So, how to improve everything? How can we really get the power hour going back and going back strong to what it was? I did a lot of thinking because I wanted to take some time off also because we were making a lot of content. If you look to our previous content, I'm very excited we made it because it taught me a lesson. It taught me, hey, instead of just making content, I wanted to actually come up with some things to structure the content, as opposed to, hey, let's just talk about how to persevere. Let's talk about how to create a funnel. Let's talk about how to do a webinar. Let's talk about how to manage money. Instead, of make a series about that and say, okay, Kareem, well, why would I want to be part of that? There's a lot of other things I could be doing. And I would agree with you, except for one thing. Why I disagree with you is, hey, if you're part of this, you can actually use that content to make courses, to teach other people. And a lot of people today, I started making courses for Udemy. I started doing a little bit of just course creation, affiliate marketing. In my opinion, course creation is one of the best things you can do because, hey, not only are you teaching other people, you're learning yourself. You're teaching other people. And if you are passionate about it, you can make a little bit of income from it.
And with that being said, you've had some successes with some of the things you've done by getting involved with Fiverr and things like that. Granted, maybe on a scale of what other people might think, they wouldn't say, oh, that's not much. But in the scheme of things and how people look at things and they're wanting things right this instant, it takes time to build up and build into that. And so if you make a few $1,000s, that's a lot because you've did it more on your own by doing these gigs, doing these things, doing that. And you had to find the ways of how to learn and understand and figure out and get it done on a timely manner to the people you were doing those things for in order to keep your rating, to keep your account stuff up and things like that. Plus, it also probably helped you look at things in another way and said, oh, I can do that to tweak some of my stuff, because I had to figure it out for them, things like that. And I think that's a good way of doing it.
And it's something I really enjoyed doing. It's because one thing I want to really put at the forefront of being an entrepreneur, if you're going to do something, it could be e-commerce, it could be something online, be something offline, you really have to enjoy it because money won't come necessarily right away. It may even be negative for a while. You may have spent a bunch of time and invested in a bunch of things. You're saying, where's the return? You don't always have a positive ROI. So, and it took many entrepreneurs I know a long time just to come and break even. Like, I know YouTube and Instagram, I know everybody's showing, hey, look, here's my Shopify with $1 billion. And then you look at the statistics that only, maybe 95 out of 95%, maybe 5% are really doing well on Shopify. So you go, oh, okay. Not everybody has the mansion, but what it does tell you is, hey, I'm going to get started, and if I can make a little bit, what can I do? It was when I made that first $4 freelancing. I said, I made some money freelancing. That's pretty cool. What else could I do? What else could I expand upon? And then I said, okay, I had a little bit of success here. I want to go teach about it. Because when I first started the Entrepreneur Power Hour, I really didn't have a whole lot of experience. I was just saying, hey, I'm going to try and see what I can do. And I learned a lot from it. And now I'm going to say, hey, I can teach about some of the things I've learned. Not only can I teach about it, I can bring other experts, have them teach, and then start creating courses out of this to really help people and to really actually sell those courses. So it's not just, hey, I'm a guy who has an idea for one thing. It's someone who can actually create something that's substantiable. So
Yeah, the other thing, based off of what you were just saying and putting out there is in that, like you said, when you start get that little bit and you get going, you realize that, oh, I really can do this. And then that kind of gives you that wherewithal and that, like, okay, I want to do it on a little bit bigger scale now. And you have to figure and traverse and go up and down and go through the pitfalls, to get. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you had a little bit of a time where you went up and then all of a sudden you kind of dropped a little bit and like, and you're like, well, what did I do wrong? And that's how you learn. But I don't think any entrepreneur or anybody who's gotten into anything in that realm ever got into it with anything being perfect, anything being set right, anything, and with a lot of adversity, a lot of, other people, telling them they can't do it, this or that or the other thing, and that's where you got to have have that very thick skin and be able to say, oh, well, do the proverbial,
yes.
And move on and say I'm not going to be deterred. It's like in the book 3 Feet from Gold. Most people stop, and I'm going to use the analogy 3 feet from gold. It's like when the 49ers were digging for gold, and that big vein that they were looking for might have been 3 feet through the rock that they still needed to chip and work through. But they got so far, were so tired, or, ran out of means or something. Instead of trying to think of ways of how to keep it going, they just gave up and walked away. And then somebody else came up, started off where they left off because they couldn't continue on. And then they dug and then they found what the other person was originally looking for. And that's usually what happens out here in the entrepreneurial world. Somebody starts and then they go so far and then something happens and they kind of fall off. But somebody else sees them and takes it and goes, well, I can run with that. I can take this. I can go that, And so a lot of times, you have to really just be able to keep going and not ever quit.
Yeah, and that's really what I want to do. And if you really enjoy what you're doing, you're not going to quit. It's not going to be something you're going to think about. That's not something I ever think about. You can always take a break, but hey, if you never quit, then great things will happen. And that's really what I wanted to not only tell people, hey, the power hour is going to keep going. I'll find a way to keep going. Even if it just starts with me and you again, that's fine. Once we get some steam and some traction, other people will come in. We'll do some fun stuff. Maybe we can have, a little bit of comedy here and there. We can have a few ideas to create some different courses and then do some live trainings. And it'll be a lot of fun. It's not going to be just, hey, I'm going to lecture you for 40 or 50 minutes. I don't think anybody needs or wants that. I think we need to also have a lot of fun doing this because, hey, if you're not having fun being an entrepreneur, what are you doing?
You working?
Yeah, yeah, you're at work. You're at work, and no, I don't think anybody wants to come off work and go back to work. Do you want to get off work and come back to work? I mean, I know you do Uber and you're still an accountant, correct?
Yes, I'm still an accountant, and I do house and dog sitting for friends here where I
There
live
you
and stuff.
go.
Yeah, I do that part time. I've got like 4 clients, so even that, that's an area I've looked at to think, well, maybe I can expand that. But then I got to thinking, I really don't always want to be spending the night over at somebody else's house. I like coming to my home. I like being in, but but I can draw. I can draw certain times where okay, I won't, do it during this time or that time, or I can say no to that. You know, you do have control. That's the other nice thing is you have control of where you head and how much, stuff like that. But a lot of times in the beginning, you you have control, but you don't have control because that's when you're framing the foundation, the bedrock of what you're building. So you have to kind of do everything and keep going and be willing to take this job even though you're like I just really don't have the energy or this or that, or oh, I don't want to do that because that's not my specialty or something like that. But in the big scheme of things, as you go on, then when you look back, it's like, but that was worth it. That was worth it because now I'm here. I'm doing what I really love. These are incidentals and they're the side things. And then you can maybe ultimately outsource that.
Yeah, not only can we outsource it, but hey, if you're having a lot of fun, you're not thinking of like, oh, I'm stuck in here and I have to get to here. You're already here, wherever that is, and you're thinking, hey, how great is it when it really just is going to manifest and when it just
Hmm.
becomes reality and you get excited. And if we can take that excitement now, then we'll keep going and going and going and going. And I have to give it up to you, Dan, because hey, you're the one who's just like, I'm going to stick around. I'm going to see this through. And I really thought to myself, if Dan and Bill still sticking around. And if Josh messages me about it, and if Marty wants to get involved, why stop it? Why shut it down? And I could always, and people could always say, well, it wasn't making you money. Well, okay, it wasn't making me money. That's not a huge deal because A, I'm figuring out other ways to make money, and B, it's something I enjoy doing.
Well, in that, you might come up, might going through this process might help you find the way of, oh, if I, wow, I just hit on something that'll work right over here, and that could be the stepping stone that takes that off to wherever it's going to go. You never know where, um, inspiration's going to come from if you don't get out and get doing it and get there and put in the perspiration, because it is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration, because to get there,
Yeah, don't perspire. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you because the inspiration is what's going to guide us through. And by having inspiration, you can achieve a lot. I mean, I when I first started online, I think to where I'm at now, I didn't know how to make a decent video other than, I started with a camera that most people were saying, "Hey, Kareem, I really liked what you said there." But yeah, I started with like a little, it was almost flip phone quality camera, and I was just putting it here and trying to record videos, and people were like, "Oh, that's pretty good, but do you need help with lighting or this?" And I was just like thinking, "Oh, this is difficult. Making videos is difficult." And then I gradually said, "Hey, if I can make just one explainer video, I'd be happy." I bought this software called Videos, and it took me like 5 hours one day to make it. 5 4, and I said, "Oh wow, I made it." And then I sent it to a couple people, and they're like, "Wow, how'd you make that?" And I'm like, "Well, I was just playing around and created a little something." And they got excited and they said, "Teach me how to do that. Teach me how to do that."
hmm
And I started thinking, "Hey." And then I said, "If I can make an explainer, can I make a whiteboard video? If I can make a whiteboard video, can I start, making my own, getting up
hmm
to having my own video business?" And I said, "Hey,
hmm
if I can start doing that, could I start freelancing my services?" It became very, very exciting. Not only was it very exciting, but it became something that I said, okay, I can really take this and learn something with it. And not only can I learn something with it, I can keep expanding upon my skills. So that's what I did. Now I'm building WordPress websites. I never thought I'd be able to do that before.
Oh yeah, those are so much fun.
Yeah, aren't they? I actually just built one if you want to see it.
Sure, why don't you share with us? Because that's part of what we're here for, is to share that, we have
You
done
can
some of
give
the things we're
me,
talking.
yeah. And you have your own a Simply Simple Life,
Yeah,
which we can feature here. Do you still have Simply Simple Life?
I do. I gotta pay my hosting, so it's probably not up right now.
Simply Simple. I can't get to it. Yeah,
Yeah, because I have to pay my hosting. I could pay it really quick. Give me a minute while keep talking and I'll
go ahead. Hey, go
go
ahead.
pay it.
I'll just show my site. I still have Rockstar Entrepreneurial Starters, but I just made a simple, quick site, for affiliate marketing. I called it Total Online Adventure, putting the adventure back into internet marketing, which internet marketing really, if we go, is just a sub niche of affiliate marketing.
Hmm.
Basically, just taking some of the stuff I learned and coming up with my own creativity and asking, I just made this total online adventure. I decided to engage in the online space and my own adventure. And what does that consist of? Helping others, doing what they love without being constrained from a 9 to 5. How do you break that? Having a total online adventure, reviewing the best software tools and information to make passions possible, whether it's marketing, e-commerce, or just having your own business or video creation, whatever it is you do. It's time to get on an online adventure. How's it geared to help you? These different things. I
Hmm.
have my story here. And then I'm going to put my product reviews here. I also put how does it help you? Putting the adventure back into affiliate marketing. It's fairly simple. And then I have an about me section here. And then when I first started making videos, I never thought I could do anything like that. And I have a little bit who is Kareem Mays. And I'm going to add to the blog actually after we're done with this live cast. And I have my YouTube reviews here. Very simple site, but did you like it?
Yeah. Um, I'm in the process of processing my payment to them.
I'm getting ready for Simply Simple Life. How long does it take to come up?
Usually it takes just a few minutes. So let's talk a little bit more about some things, or, kind
All
of
right.
highlight some of the things you have done out of, the Rockstar Entrepreneurs, how a little bit more of the videos you guys have done and stuff like that. Because I think people might, like, oh, wow, he went from nothing, dealing with like a flip phone to what he can do now. So that might be a good way of just, as I make sure this does come up before you
Yeah.
showcase it.
I came to, just making flip phone content. People are literally saying, like in a nice way, can I help you with lighting? And I'm like, I get it. I get what you're getting at. And then for a while, I was like, I really need to work on it. Or my first website, it took me like so long to figure it out, and it didn't even look that great. I didn't know what a theme was. I was like, oh, what's this WordPress thing? This is so complex. It has so much stuff because I started with Wix. And then I didn't like the way Wix felt, so I started with something
Yep.
called Weebly. I'm like, I don't like Weebly. I did a blog on there. It was okay. I'm wondering if I still have my Weebly.
And my simplysimplemoney.com does come up now.
Is it Simply Simple Money or Simply Simple Life?
Simplysimplemoney.com is where my Simply Simple Life website is hosted. So do simplysimplemoney.com. At the time when I bought the domain, I didn't realize that I should have made it under my name or something. I learned that after I did that. Yeah,
You're good.
which I do own some I own 3 domains, I think it is now. I think I had to let one go. Yep, that's me.
Boom. Looking good.
And just to add to people, Kareem is the one who helped me come up with my logo. He created that for me,
A little bit, yeah.
Based on some of the parameters and things I was looking for and stuff like that. And so that's something else he's done.
Yeah, I have fun with it. Have fun with a little graphic design and logo creation.
But yeah, some of my blogs, which are older blogs, which I need to go back and start getting caught up and creating new content, which is stuff I want to do more. And I need to change my about and change some things in there because I also want to eventually get to doing live trainings for blogging and stuff like that.
Nice. Very cool.
Hmm.
What's your other domain?
Oh, that's the only one. The others are like subdomains and ones I use for when I have landing pages and stuff and things like that, which I need to recreate some new ones again.
Yeah. Total Online Adventure. Put that
Mm-hmm.
together in 2 to 3 days. I actually have a course on how I did this. I just have to add 3 more videos.
Yeah, when I first dealt with, and my first original um, WordPress site was different to this, and I loved it. I literally fought, and it took me. I think I started
But just to
in.
give the viewers an idea, the reason I'm showing this is, hey, this looks somewhat polished, right? Not a ton of
Mm-hmm,
content, but that looks decent. Like you go, oh, okay, that's a good, and then I have Rockstar,
mm-hmm,
Entrepreneurial Starters.
mm-hmm,
And that one I think looks really, really good.
mm-hmm. It does.
I also have May's Law of Attraction.
Mm.
Oh, well, actually, I have speakyourmindnow.com.
Oh
I think
wow.
that one looks decent.
Uh-huh. It does.
And I still I have to get, I have a problem here. I have to, get my sales thing working. It's a work in
Mm-hmm.
progress.
See, that's what I need is some of those things, and I need to work on creating content myself too.
But the reason I show this is my first blog. It didn't look, when I first created it, didn't look like this, but I'm not saying this looks terrible or this looks awful, but you can see a clear difference of when
Mm-hmm.
I started.
Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna say something that is you don't have to have the most best polished website
No.
in the world. I've seen some pretty ugly ones, and yet they get tons of traffic. People go there, and it's not necessarily because of the website itself. It's because of what is
On the
being
website.
given on the website, value, value added, what they do, things like that. So that's another key thing that people need to understand. It does not need to be perfectly polished or perfectly exactly like some of the big places and stuff, because sometimes simplicity and something that looks a little, to me, less polished speaks more volumes because then it seems more human in a
Yeah.
sense to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, definitely. You don't have to have, like, if you look at the Tim Ferriss's first website, I would go like, who built this? Like, I don't think this is going to do well. And then I'm like, okay, he's a millionaire. So maybe, but that was in a different time. I think it's good to have both. I think I like to teach people how to create good content and how to, make a nice looking one. But yeah, you're true. If you don't have the best looking one, I know people who do very well without having the best looking
Well,
website.
I think as long as you have the good services, content, um, interaction that you know you engage people and draw them in, that's the difference. And I think those that have the most polished sites sometimes are not the most engaging people or the most authentic or the most real when you watch them and you're thinking, oh, why would I do anything with them? That type of thing.
Exactly. So that being said, let me bring it to the point I want to come to. What I want to do with the power hour is a little bit different than what we were doing before. What we were doing before is just coming up with like, let's try this, try that, try this, and see what sticks at the wall. And yeah, I think we should first start out. I wrote a short ebook called How to Escape the Office. Go to my Google Drive if that's okay with you, Dan.
Sure.
Well, it's 8-part transformation. From rat race to small business owner. Maybe it's a little bit harsh, but I'm fine with that. And I'd like to start going over my book, 8-part transformation from rat race to small business owner. How to effectively establish a home business if you work or have worked in an office setting. And I'm going to make a video course out of this. So what do I have? Obviously, I have the all rights reserved, notes to the reader. Why are you stuck in a cube or an office? How to overcome objections from family members and friends. How to gain the courage and will to leave the office. Methods of succeeding outside of the office. What makes you passionate about your new business. Techniques to find a good mentor for your business. Techniques to pitch your business via video. And finally, how to help others leave the office and succeed in their business.
And what, to you, what's the most important part of, go back to that original, keep going. What is the key thing out of here that you think is the most important thing to you in the end?
I think it's gaining the courage, because a lot of people, you can sit there, I can teach you, do this, do this, do that. I've sat there and taught people, actually, I was blue in the face. They're like, oh, I want to do Fiverr. It'd be so much fun. I'm like, great. So you want to do A, B, and C, A, B, and C. You can get methods. You can decide to maybe say, I'm going to overcome some objections. You can find techniques. You can pitch it. But if you can't really get the courage to do something, and I would say the courage and the passion, then it's not going to matter so much. Anything I teach you, you'll be like, I don't want to do it. Or I did it for a week or two, and I'm not making the money I wanted to make, so I step away.
Which is something we hear a lot about, that, people say, well, I tried it. And you say, well, how long did you try? And next thing, 2 days or a week, or, heck, I'm going on, 6-7 years. I'm still not to where I want to be, and I still have a lot to learn, but I'm still not giving up, that type of thought. But I think the other thing for me is, one, you're right, gaining the courage to move forward and move on. And two, is my ultimate end goal is being able to help others achieve those things that are like highlighted in your book, gaining the courage, understanding the steps and things, but to be able to ultimately be their own boss and have their own business and help as many people as I can get to that level. So for me, it would be two things: helping people truly get to that point where they can have the courage to move on, and then get to that level that they really are looking for.
Yes.
And everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah, and my plan is to make a course out of this, maybe a 12 or 13. And you'd say, why would you do that? Because I might have a little introduction, might have some different things, some extra videos for that, and to make this something that a course that I would sell. And then you're with me, then I can say, hey, I started selling this. You were here on the power hour. Here's some of it for just hanging around and making the course with me.
Well, and the thing is, in breaking it down into little smaller chunks, you're not overwhelming the person that you're helping and getting to those levels. Because sometimes people have big grandiose ideas and think, oh, I'm just going to jump in and do this, and then start jumping in, and they're floundering. They're like, going underwater and trying to, get back up to where at least they can get a breath. And I think in smaller increments, in the beginning is so much better than slamming so much down people's throats. Because I've been in some things and involved some things that where I went to intensive weekends and I'm like, okay, what did I, how, what, okay, I'm supposed to go home and remember and do all this. Wait, what? That type of thing. So that's, something else. I agree with you.
Yeah. And the great thing about this is, the really exciting thing is that by structuring this, we're going to give people this information. It can be not only we're going to give it to them, we can monetize it, and we can help truly inspire other people to be part of something bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wherever they want to go or be, or what they're shooting for, because not everybody's they're gonna have the same ideas, like, oh, I want to become my own person, I want to become my own, but not everybody's gonna have the same passion or feel to do the same exact thing you're doing. But if you can help them get to those points of, like you said, courage to move forward, and then help them get to that level where they have achieved that, and then they can start taking that and taking and building and doing their own things with their own twist, their own takes, their own, um, character and their own, uniqueness, and build themselves something to help do the same thing for others. Because everybody learns differently. Everybody, we're all attracted to different people and how we interact and do things, and then that's part of it too.
Definitely. Definitely. All right. So it sounds like, hey, the power hour is back. I'm going to start telling people. I'm going to start advertising this. I'm going to get this out there. I'm also going to make sure if you come on, I'm going to show, hey, we started, out with nothing. We have 3,000 subscribers. We can grow it even bigger, I feel. And not only that, I will show people on you can see our YouTube channel. Never did really stop growing. And one thing about that too is I can feature people's sites. I can help people, get their expertise out there,
Mm-hmm.
get them some exposure, and maybe even create some courses with some people so they can profit even outside of YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I am going to create a social media network around all of this.
That's what I'm excited about, is that process, that aspect, because you've talked about that a few times in the past, and when you were working with, really trying to work at Rockstar, you've always said that, because of some of the things that are out there and the pitfalls that a lot of entrepreneurs have to deal with, and lessen those pitfalls. And I think that's a great idea.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there. All right. Great.
Okay.
You got anything to add before we conclude the first episode of the new Power Hour, bringing it back and getting excited?
No, I don't think I do. I think we covered pretty much, kind of, setting the tone and getting things, your ideas and your vision for what it is. I'm here along to help and be along for the ride, but, you and, when you were involved before, the other people that are around and stuff, I think maybe some of them might come back, may drive others away. I don't know, but, I'm looking forward to where it's
Hey,
going
you know
now.
what? If people come back, if they drive away, I'm not going to be discouraged by that. And I let that get to me. And that's one thing you can't do as an entrepreneur. Like, okay, I lost some customers. Because everybody loses customers. Everybody, unfortunately, you gain customers, you lose customers, you gain people who support you. You have people maybe who support you one day who are against you the next. Okay, that's just life. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I'm not gonna sit around and say, oh, someone doesn't want to come back, or someone can't come back. I'm gonna get upset, because that's not gonna help grow the Power Hour. It's not gonna help me become a more effective entrepreneur, and ultimately, it's just gonna waste energy.
Yeah, because even in real life, you go somewhere, you have a bad experience, you say, I'm never going back to that store or that restaurant or that, and they don't really know that, unless you spread a big, wide, go out and go on Facebook or say this, that. But then again, half the time, people look at it and say, oh, well, let me go find out for sure if that's real. And then they go to the place, a lot of times, negative advertising works more than it does on the positive side sometimes because people really want to go see, was it really that bad or was it just them, you know so on that end, we all go through those every day in life with friends, people, work, jobs, this. Why should we let that impede us in our dream of what we want to do with what we're trying to build? And too many people do let that get in the way.
Yeah, that's kind of sad, unfortunately, because if you let it get in the way, then how are you going to move forward?
Exactly.
So that being said,
I think
I'm going to conclude this, and I think I am going to go ahead and upload it.
okay, cool.
All right. Thank you very much for joining the Power Hour. I'm your host, Kareem Mays, with Dan Sissick. Get excited for more original, structured content. Next week, we're going to keep going every Tuesday at 7:30 from 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard to 8:30 Eastern Standard. And we're going to start going over the book I just wrote. And then we're going to move on to more structured topics. Get that out there. Not only help others, but create some courses that people can really enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Look forward.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, and have a great day, guys. Thank you for tuning in to the Entrepreneur Power Hour.